Here's a quick rundown of some of the features of my VoltMod project. When I turn the car on, the screen comes on, but the cameras don't start recording right away. The cameras don't start recording until I put the car in gear. It takes the cameras a few seconds to boot up because they have to charge their capacitors. What you just heard was a synchronization tone. This ensures that the videos from the front and rear cameras are synchronized when played together. Even though the cameras don't start recording until I put it in gear, they don't stop recording until I turn the car off. The Pi has now cut power to the cameras, but they are still finalizing the recordings to the card using the capacitor power. Now that the cameras are off and the Pi has found my home Wi-Fi network, it's turning the cameras back on in storage mode to upload the videos. I just got a notification on my phone that it has started uploading videos from the front camera. Now it's uploading videos from the rear camera. Now it's done copying and it can turn the cameras off. This system works well for normal driving, but if I go on a long trip, the storage on the microSD cards will fill up, since the cameras don't support cards larger than 32 gigabytes. What I can do is tell it to copy to this flash drive. It goes through the same process, except it copies the videos to the flash drive instead. One of the things that annoys me about the Volt is that most of the climate controls are only available through this screen. But now I can press down on the dial to select fan speed mode, then I can turn it to adjust the speed. It's in fan only mode right now, but I can press the blue button to switch it to comfort mode. Pressing the green button switches it to Eco mode. One annoying thing that the Volt does in Eco mode is that it runs the fan at half of the selected speed rather than just limiting it. So I made a hack to multiply the speed by 2 when entering Eco mode and divide it by 2 when exiting. Of course it can't go beyond the maximum, but at least it doesn't change speeds when I switch between Eco and fan only mode. Holding the green button down turns recirculation on or off. In the winter, I don't like running the climate control because it drains the battery. However, sometimes I need to run the defroster full blast for a few seconds to clear the windshield. So I made a shortcut to turn on the defroster, then turn the fan speed all the way up. To turn it off, I just turn the fan speed all the way down. Of course, I can control other stuff too, like the music player on my phone. I can press the dial twice to switch it to track mode and scroll through the tracks in the current playlist. The black button pauses or plays the current track. The default mode for the dial is to control the volume. As you can see, the screen displays the current song, artist, album, and time. Pressing the dial 3 times puts it in playlist mode, allowing me to switch between different playlists. When I switch to a different playlist, it remembers the position of the previous playlist to the millisecond, and resumes a new playlist exactly where it left off.
Riding in a bus down the boulevard and the pace won't bring it back. But a seesaw had to stand where the perverts in the back. It was melting.
The final dial mode controls the temperature setting, but I don't change it that much. Pressing the red button brings up an on-screen keyboard. I can enter a short note by scrolling through the columns with the dial, then selecting a row by pressing the white, black, dial, or blue buttons. I can insert a space by holding the blue button. I can move the cursor by turning the dial while holding it down. And I can delete a character by holding the black button. Pressing the red button exits text entry mode, but keeps the text on the screen. Pressing the green button clears the text and saves it to the data log. The white button brings up a menu of additional options. I can roll the windows down and roll them back up. I can open the windows just a crack. I can also manually start or stop recording at any time. I can tell it to start or stop a copy operation. I can even have it open the rear hatch. If I hold down the red button, it brings up the app on my phone, which shows most of the same information as the dedicated screen. In fact, it's what I used before I had the screen. The app can also remotely control the car over the internet using this hologram Nova modem. I can control the locks, the windows, and even start preconditioning. Of course, the car doesn't have to be on for any of these controls to work. An additional menu lets me control a lot more things, like the windshield wipers. I can even spray washer fluid on the windshield. And of course, I can control the camera. Of course, the Raspberry Pi is just an ordinary computer running Linux. If I plug in a keyboard, I can log in and do whatever I want. I've got a manual switch on the power board to turn on the screen even when the Pi is turned off or just booting up. I'm looking at debug logs here. However, the coolest thing I can do with this is modify the code live. Let's say I don't like the color of the battery display and I want it to be blue. I just change FFFFFF to 0000FF. Then I save it, and now the number is blue. I can also log into the Pi remotely. The latency and bandwidth aren't that great, and I have to be careful not to use too much data, but using this modem I can access the Pi from anywhere in the world.